It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show! Hey everybody, it's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey gang.
Les Webster.
Hello all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Groovy.
Doing great.
Very nice. And you?
Doing okay. Hope everybody's doing alright out there, and happy holidays again. So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Well, this week, I'm not going to say I took a break from reading my trade pile, but I'm going to take a break from talking about it anyway, because I stumbled across something on Amazon Prime that turns out to be really pretty cool. It is a documentary series called 100 Years of Horror. Now, this is not new, so don't get any ideas. This actually came out in '96, so it's 20 years old, and it is introduced and narrated by Christopher Lee, which is really cool. I will warn you, if you grab hold of this somehow, and I thought I remembered reading somewhere that it's going to be released on DVD soon. Please make sure you watch past the opening titles, because even for 1996, the CGI opening titles are pathetic. But the show is really cool. Oh man, it's bad. You know how bad CGI stuff was in 1996 on TV. I'm pretty sure this was a negative budget thing. This was not even a low budget. It's just terrible. But again, they did 26 half-hour episodes talking about various aspects of horror movies over the past century. And it's really informative. There's some really good interviews. It's a lot of fun. And Christopher Lee he's in good form. He's cracking jokes and being knowledgeable, and it's great. It is definitely worth checking out if you can. Like I said, I'm watching it on Amazon Prime, and I read somewhere recently that it's supposed to be, I guess, re-released on DVD sometime in the near future. So
Cool.
Very cool.
It's pretty cool.
That would be worth tracking.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Next.
Next. I'll go.
All right.
I picked up a few things from the comic book store. It's not new, but I guess I was catching up on my reading. I started a series called Negative Space, and for some reason, I didn't get the last issue or something, because it's only a 4-issue story, but the guy's going to commit suicide, and, he can't go through with it, so I won't spoil the ending, but it's pretty neat little read. I finally finished that one up, and then still being disappointed for my Walking Dead mid-season finale, I pulled out my Here's Negan and kind of got the backstory on him, and that's a pretty interesting read too. It was originally released on Image Plus, and every month they'd give you a little bit of his backstory until you finally found out why he had Lucille and why he's so mean and everything else. So they put it all together in a hardbound book, and it's a pretty good read. I definitely recommend somebody, if you're into The Walking Dead, definitely pick that one up and read it. Explains a lot. But rather than getting ready for the holidays, that's all I've really had time for.
All right.
Yeah, and I'll back
Holidays?
up. Yeah, what are you talking about holidays? What's all that about?
Right.
But I'll back up your recommendation on Negative Space. That is a really cool series.
Yeah.
It is a really cool story. It gets weird. I will say that,
Very
but definitely not in a bad way. It's very
No.
cool. It's a very cool kind of weird.
And it kind of neat the concept of how it all worked, you know.
Yeah, how
To
it all
find out
kind
that
of
his
fell
suffering
together.
wasn't for nothing.
Right. Yeah, which is kind of given his level of suffering, that's impressive. But yeah,
Right.
it's very cool.
It's a pretty interesting read.
That was a Dark Horse, right?
Yes. Yep, it is.
Cool. Les?
I was reading the 25th anniversary book of Harley Quinn, and now it's got me spiked to reread Hush. The episode with Harley, part 6 in this storyline, was so intriguing. It got me to go again, thinking I've got to see this again in the totality. So I'm going to dig out my copy and start in on that. The story was the artist was Jim Lee on this, so it is just so good, such good stuff. And she was not a ditz in this one by any means. She wanted to pull the trigger at any cost. So it was a good read, and looking forward, like I said, to Hush.
It's been a while since I read that story arc. I remember enjoying the heck out of it.
Hush is what got my son into comics, actually.
Oh, really?
Yep. He wanted to start collecting the Hush line, so we hit every place we could to find them, but yep, that's what got him into comic books.
I'm glad to hear that.
Cool.
Remind me who wrote this. Who wrote that? Was it?
Yeah, you'd have to ask. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry.
Jeff Loeb.
Jeff Loeb.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, see, you mentioned Hush, and the first thing my brain jumps to, because I'm wired funny, is Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh yeah. Yep. That was an
Completely
awesome
unrelated.
episode too.
Completely unrelated, but yeah, that's where my brain went.
That was a great episode. Yeah. All of a sudden, I'm thinking of the scene where they're learning about the gentleman, and Buffy makes that particular motion, and you're going, "Oh, okay, that's uncomfortable."
Yeah.
And everybody's looking at her like, "What?" And that's when she pulls out the steak. Okay, oh, okay. No.
Yep.
Anything else, Les?
No, not from me.
Okay. It's been rather a movie-intensive week for me.
Wait, a movie came out?
Yeah, well, yeah, but I saw more than just I've seen more than just one movie this past week.
Oh, cool.
Yes, I did see Star Wars: Last Jedi, and I'm surprised Les didn't want to admit that he'd seen the film too. But but okay. And I did enjoy it. Like I said in the pre-show, I did have some issues with it, but I did enjoy it. The next film I saw was The Chair, which was the live-action adaptation of the Alterna comics miniseries. And thank you, Mikey, for letting me borrow that.
Sure.
I think the thing that really stood out with that one, I mean, it's a very disturbing film, and if you're familiar with the story, yeah, you kind of do that. I was really impressed by Roddy Piper's performance. He was really, really good in this film, and I've never really thought of him much as an actor. I mean, I've only seen him in a couple other films, and I thought he was all right, but he was really good in this. I was kind of impressed.
Yeah, he did the he was good in that role. He was really good in
Yeah.
that role. It was a little creepy how good he was at times in that role. I don't want to
Yeah.
say too much about it because people should go see it if you
Yes.
can handle that
What
sort of
was the
thing.
name again?
It's called The Chair.
The Chair?
It is available on Amazon, and I highly recommend it. The third movie I finally saw, and no other reason why I did not see it other than just then I didn't seek it out, was Logan, the final Wolverine film with Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart, and that was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
About halfway through or so, I was thinking, this is, there's a certain connotation when you think of a superhero film, and this is clearly not it. I mean, it's, it's kind of and I don't want to say sci-fi, but I mean, you're talking about a pure drama just with people with certain special abilities. But it was a really, really good film. It was a great way to kind of end that chapter of the Logan run. No pun intended.
Yeah.
But I recommend that one. I'm not a big Wolverine fan. I enjoyed him a long time ago. I liked him in the X-Men movies. I never even saw the second Wolverine film. I just didn't care. But I was curious about this. I had heard a lot of good things about it, and I'm glad I did. It was smartly written. Hugh Jackman did a great job. Patrick Stewart did a great job. The girl, which I can't remember her name, she was phenomenal. It was really, really good stuff. I do recommend it if you have a chance to see it. I definitely would tell you to stop down and watch it. If so,
That was a good one.
Oh, yeah.
I know
now you tell us this was a good one.
I know you hadn't seen it, Mike. Les, have you seen it?
Yes. Yeah, it's been on HBO or something.
Okay. And your thoughts?
I enjoyed it. I'm not a big Wolverine fan either, but it was solid. It was a more solid story than the second Wolverine movie.
Well, I was pleasantly impressed. I thought it was great. So, and we'll see what happens in the future. Alrighty, before we get into this week's topic, I want to take a couple moments to thank our sponsors, the fine folks at Things from Another World, for sponsoring the fellowship. And right now, the only deals they are running are their evergreen deals, but they're still pretty fantastic. Amongst them are 40% off comics, statues, toys, and merchandise. 30% off select pre-order manga titles. And 50% off Nick and Dick comics and trades. So what we recommend is you go to our website, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, and click on our sponsors tab, and you'll see information for these deals and maybe some other ones that have popped up since our recording. And we'll have links there that you can click on to take you to their website and let them know that we sent you their way. And just take advantage of some of these deals that are going on right now. Alrighty. For this week, we're probably going to be one of the last ones to be talking about this topic. But hey, we figured this is kind of a big deal that we need to discuss it. But by now, you've probably heard that a pending approval, and I guess now pending a a investigation by Congress because they have nothing else better to do right now. Disney is buying most of 20th or 21st Century Fox. And what that entails is basically Fox Movie Studios and Fox TV Studios and Fox FX Network, the National Geographic Channel, and other international assets. And actually, their share of Hulu is doubled. Apparently, it was 30% before, and now it's 60%. What is not included in this deal is Fox Broadcast Channel, Fox News Network, Fox Business, and Fox Sports Channels 1 and 2. This is a pretty big deal. This is for, I've seen different numbers, but somewhere between 50 and 60 billion dollars. That's with the B. Of course, most people are seeing this and immediately thinking of, oh, great, Marvel's getting the X-Men back and the Fantastic Four, but there's a lot more going on than just that. But I figured we would take an episode and kind of discuss this and discuss the repercussions just all over, and kind of get our thoughts of yay, nay, or wait and see or whatever. So, who would like to go first?
It's a big topic, really.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's a scary big topic. I guess the parts of it that are interesting to me, I find the Hulu thing interesting, especially given all of the push that Disney has made over the last probably 2 years now, moving toward creating their own streaming service.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boom, they buy a controlling interest in Hulu, which is one of the big three, I guess, streaming services. I actually would be surprised if they just converted Hulu into the Disney streaming service. I don't think that's what they're going to do here.
Yeah.
I think that would be more complicated than it seems.
I think on that end, they're going to get into Hulu because they just announced they're breaking with Netflix. They're taking all their content back. I think they're going to get in there and they're going to pick its brain, kind of like they did with, was it Pixar? From their animated department, and then Disney started doing their own shows that way. But I think they'll learn how it works. And since they don't like to play co-op, co-own with anybody, they'll branch off and do their own after they understand fully how it works, how to get it out there, the subscription base, that kind of thing. I think it's more of a learning tool right now for them.
It might have been a cheaper way to learn that, but I digress.
But look at everything else they got on, along with Hulu. So it
right.
wasn't like just that they're buying Hulu out,
Oh, no, right.
And I think it was a perk to that price tag, but,
Right.
That was probably one of their, well, yeah, we'll see how it works and then do their own thing that they ain't got to share 40% with somebody else or anything or,
Yep.
And you got to realize that Disney's acquiring Fox's television catalog too.
Yep. Which, see, I'm kind of curious on the animated end of that. The Simpsons, Futurama, Bob's Burgers. I mean, these are shows that the public has taken really well to. I wonder what Disney's going to do to those, or if they're just going to let them go since they're doing well.
If Fox is actually keeping its main broadcast network, they may not actually be involved in that. Those shows may not be involved in any of this. I mean, yes, they're selling the FX network and a few others, but if Fox is going to stay, if the Fox TV network is going to stay separate along with the Fox News and all of that and the Fox Sports, that may not. I mean, I don't know that that's how that works anyway. I suspect that those things are produced buy kind of a third party, and then they have whatever deal they have with Fox to broadcast them. So I would be a little surprised, like if The Simpsons becomes a Disney property. I just don't think that's the way that's going to work. I could be wrong too.
The Simpsons actually comes out of the Fox Animation, the 20th Century Fox Animation. So it's actually they own that own studio that's produced at, and those people come in to read and stuff. So I don't know if they sold their animation department with that, but
right. That's the deal, is we don't know how that falls into it all.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, I couldn't imagine The Simpsons with Disney eyes, but hey.
Well, I mean, Disney owns other stuff. I mean, I think I read they owned Miramax for a while.
Yeah.
And those are not Disney movies.
Yeah, true.
And they do stuff separate. They have to do stuff under different names, just like anybody else. And so.
Well, like they own ABC, which a lot of the kids programming, family stuff comes out of too. But along with their own, Disney channels and that kind of stuff.
Stuff that's competing with their own Disney channels. Exactly.
Right.
So who knows that any of it's really going to change.
Yeah. I think from a movie standpoint, it's going to be pretty soon. It's a Disney movie or a non-Disney movie. It's a pretty big stake to buy out,
Actually, I think it would be interesting to see some sort of numbers I haven't seen yet on how much of essentially Hollywood's production this deal entails. What percentage?
Right.
Because yes, Disney is huge, and yes, Fox is huge.
It's huge.
It would be interesting to see where the numbers really fall on that. If the numbers could even really be gathered for something like that.
Yeah.
I know I didn't do well enough in my statistics courses in college to pull that off.
And another thing, y'all talk about the films, is how much does Disney turn around and, of course, nothing's going to happen here for another year or so because it's going to take that long before it's finalized. But at least a year. But how much production work that will Disney shut down for Fox, or do they just there was mention of Fox, and then there was Fox Searchlight, which is the more independent stuff. It just there's a lot of interesting questions just everywhere about this whole thing. But they was talking about maybe the number of films would go down for Fox after this deal. Not that I'm not sure what the numbers were right now, but Fox has been kind of searching for a kind of a blockbuster franchise, and now that's really not going to be an issue anymore, assuming this actually goes through. What are your thoughts, Les?
I'm going to say that people may be getting ahead of themselves, according to the comments on this article, about changes at amusement parks or on television, because I agree with Mike. I'm going to agree with you guys. They're not going to touch the TV. That stuff is contracted from Fox to their creators. That's not going to change. I don't see Disney trying to do a Futurama live-action movie. I don't.
That would be awesome.
Are you sure about that?
Oh, that would be so appallingly bad. It would be great.
I do want to see what they do with Bender in that.
Right. That's episode 9, right?
Yeah.
With blackjack and hookers.
We're boned. I just have a feeling that Disney is not going to go full force into rearranging the portions that they are purchasing. The movies, I would say that Disney will put out movies for Fantastic Four, for X-Men. They'll be able to use the term mutant on television. It's just, it's not going to be that big an overhaul, but I know the changes will come. That's inevitable. So, as far as my thoughts on it, do what you want. To me, you've already messed up ESPN, so do whatever you wish. Well, they have.
Well, they're saying they don't even want Fox News.
Right, yeah, Fox Sports was not part of the deal, so...
Right, they're like, heck no.
They're like, oh, no, we're good. Y'all keep that.
Knock $30 billion off the price tag and we'll take those.
Wow.
Owie. Yeah. See, I have to take your word for it on how screwed up ESPN is. I don't have that.
You're not missing much.
Consider yourself lucky.
That's kind of what I'm gathering here, but yeah.
Well, that's something that's been really annoying me, and I think I've mentioned this before at least once. The cross promotion has just really been bad. You know, if I'm watching Sports Center, I really don't want to see Robert Downey Jr. Oh, by the way, I'm in the new Avengers movie that's coming out here in a couple of weeks. No, I don't need that. We all remember the scene in one of the soap ABC soap operas where the lady was saying, talking to her, I don't know, it was a boyfriend or someone she was kind of interested in romantically or whatever. You know, just out of nowhere, she's like, hey, Doctor Strange is coming out here real soon. And he goes, yeah, let's go see that. Well, that sounds pretty good. I'm like, oh, God. That's so bad of product placement. It's not even funny. The video is just horrible. But that's what all it is now. It seems like, ABC does everything it can to promote ESPN and Disney and Marvel and Lucasfilm. It's just kind of a really bad rotation, and it's horrible, and it may be getting worse with what they do with what they'll get with from Fox. It's aggravating.
It kind of chaps my ass that there are so many car commercials out right now talking about friggin' Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. I mean, come on. I don't want to watch a damn car commercial in the first place. Why in the hell do I care if they're on their way to see The Last Jedi? I don't. And they just have the music in the background, and it's just irritating.
See, I'm stuck watching kids shows all day long. So those car commercials are actually Sesame Street car commercials. I would kill for Star Wars fun.
You're watching commercials for the Barbie Jeep thing that the little kids drive around. Yeah, understood.
Well, drive around in Jeep, drive around in Ray's Jeep or Princess Leia's Jeep. There you go.
There you go.
Well, you want to talk about commercials like that. I don't remember when this started, and y'all can probably help me out. I don't know if it was late in Brosnan's run, but definitely with Daniel Craig, of the Rolex. Go see James Bond, the new James Bond movie. He's going to be wearing our watch. I'm like, you're not going to be able to see the watch because of everything else that's going on in the damn movie.
Right. Where's the suit?
And the car.
We're going to give you a close-up.
And then, of course, the cars, yeah.
Right.
That gets destroyed after you see it for about 5 minutes. Then, okay, yeah,
Well, sure.
He gets blown up. That's really nice. I really want a car that gets
That was
blown
an
up.
awesome
That's
car.
really
Yeah,
good.
I want to drive an Aston Martin because they explode after 5 minutes of driving. Yeah, no, not so much. Why don't they have a vodka company pubbing for them? I mean, come on, let's.
That seems like a no-brainer, but
Freaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Stoli and freaking Armani. This is where we need to be going for our shameless self-promotion here for James Bond. Because otherwise it's like Walter PPKs and crap like that, and that's just weird.
You know what ad placement really gets on my nerves? I think it's the Snickers bar ads in the comic books.
Oh, yeah. The ones
Where
that
you're
you can
sitting there
barely distinguish
really
from
into
the
your
comic book
story.
itself.
Yeah.
yeah.
You're like, wait, what happened? And then you're like, oh, damn, it's a candy bar commercial.
That'll jack you right out of a story, won't it?
It will, man.
I remember the first one of those I saw, and it threw me. I'm pretty sure Les remembers this too, and Liz, I'm sure you do too. It was one with Superman, Batman, and Doomsday turned into Wonder Woman after she had Snickers. The
Yeah.
first time I saw this ad was in a Superman comic where he was battling Doomsday. So you literally could not tell
Yeah.
where the story ended and where the ad began, and then when the ad ended and you went back to the story, it was horrendous.
That's
I
bad.
mean, pretty cool marketing if you think about it, but yeah, when you're into a story and then that happens, it's just kind of like, oh man, you got me.
As a publisher, you got to think about shit like that. I mean, come on. You really are going to jack your readers right out of the story.
Yeah.
If what you're putting in there is too close to what's in the book. I mean, damn.
Well, and I think the one that Thomas was talking about, it was actually like in the middle of the book where the best
was.
pages usually are, and
Yeah.
one was comic and the other was full page ad,
Yeah, it was like 2 pages of ads. So I mean, it was now if you're reading some other DC title, it's not as bad, but it just happened to coincide in a Superman story arc where he's battling Doomsday. So you literally just go, what the hell?
Yes.
Didn't say all of a sudden turn into Wonder Woman by eating a Snickers?
No.
What the?
Did he give her a Snickers or a My Doll?
Oh, she done went there. Oh my goodness.
She went where we would not go.
I wasn't thinking nothing like that. Ooh.
Yeah, I did. Welcome aboard, Liz.
Wow. Straight below the belt with that one. Holy cow.
Literally and figuratively.
Ooh. Yikes. And here I was getting ready to say something about why didn't Snickers just create an anthology, a comics anthology series, and they can put their damn Snickers bars wherever the hell they want in the comic, and everybody knows that that's what it is, and so you can read around it or whatever. But
Well, if the stories were interesting, but, usually it's something lame like that, So it's like, ugh.
yeah, it's because that's what people remember better. They remember the dumb jokes better
Right.
because they're the ones that they go, Good comedy never really sold much of anything.
Right. So Disney Fox.
Yeah.
Bring the train back.
Train back on
So
the
make
tracks.
it Dizox.
Right. I don't know. Maybe Disney will buy Snickers one day.
There you go.
Disnickers. Wait, hang on. That's not good.
Have you guys ever seen that rap battle between Jim Henson and Stan Lee? And at the end, Walt Disney comes in and he's like, don't worry about it because pretty soon I'll own the world. I'll own you all. When I first heard this deal, that song popped into my head because it's like, it came true. They're owning the world. They're going to own it all.
Well, and there was a thing going around on the internet where there was a screenshot from a Simpsons episode
Yes,
like 20 years ago that said
from '98.
20th Century Fox, a Disney corporation or some shit like that.
You know, the amount of stuff that The Simpsons has been able to predict is just kind of scary, eerie sometimes, you know?
The Nostradamus of our time.
Yeah, and it's a freaking cartoon. It's weird.
Oh,
And it's
boy.
almost sad because, you know, he thought of the most outrageous thing he could possibly think of to put into a cartoon. You know, like Trump becoming president, and then boom, you know. You think it makes them feel bad sometimes? Going, wow.
I think it makes them think, how the fuck did that happen?
Right.
Yeah.
That was
That was
not
the
supposed to be
worst-case
reality,
scenario.
right?
People really are that weird.
Well, it's like the Bee Gees song started a joke that made the world cry, right? Isn't that the song?
Staying alive, staying alive.
No, not that one.
Different song, okay.
Like I said,
That's the only one we know by them.
Uh-huh.
Making fun of I started a joke. You should be frickin' ashamed.
I should be, but somehow I'm not. I don't know.
And we're not surprised either.
So there, old man.
Shame. I've heard of that before somewhere. What is that from? Shame. What is that from? I can't remember. Anyway.
Isn't that a movie? Come Back Shame?
Let's try Googling it.
Oh.
So what else are your thoughts? Here's something kind of interesting that I don't think dawned on a lot of people, and it didn't me until someone had pointed out. But with the TV rights and all that, from what I understand, now that may be different because of what we talked about tonight, but would Disney actually own the TV rights to Batman?
No.
Probably
No?
not. It depends on how the animation studio rolls in, and also how they whether they still control the rights.
Well, I'm talking about more the live action thing. The live action, because Fox is producing the new the Gotham series. But you know.
Oh yeah.
My guess is no.
Yeah.
At least not directly enough to matter. They may own the company that controls that owns the right, or however that works. But that doesn't mean that they can go out and make Batman stuff. Because my guess is there are layers of ownership in between those things that are just going to be insurmountable. You're never going to, I mean, there's probably 4 or 5 layers at least of legalese you'd have to work through and contract stuff and all of that in order to try to take control of something like that. It would barely be worth it.
I think you're right there. I think that there are so many blockades there that they will not be able to acquire things like Batman. I have a strong feeling. Now, what the hell is so funny about that, young man?
You just don't want Disney to own Batman. That's what it is.
No.
Well, that too, but also legalese and corporate law and all of that shit.
I'm sure you're right, but it's it's kind of delicious, kind of thinking about that kind of stuff. Just
It's an interesting idea, but my guess is it would take their lawyers 10 years to figure it out. And by then, the contract would have moved on.
So I don't think I'd want Disney doing a Batman movie. I just, instead of Robin, he'd have some little googly-eyed pet sidekick or something. I don't know if I want Disney touching that one.
Well, they wouldn't be able to do the movie. They don't. It's just it'd be the TV, the live action TV stuff, or maybe even the animated. I don't know. But
Yeah, that the funny thing is that could be an entirely different set of rights with an entirely different company. So
yeah.
Yeah.
it would be interesting
Mm-hmm.
to see what they could do, to what they could get away with. But like I said, it's going to take them years to even scratch the surface on that
Yeah.
before you could have a billboard for a Disney movie in the background in a Gotham episode, you know.
I think Disney's already earmarked what their cash cows are going to be, though. And I don't think so much as let's see what we can change about this, but they're real big in merchandising. So I don't think they really care, like with The Simpsons, what they're going to do on TV, because we can sell the dolls and the stickers and the coloring books, and I think that's more of Disney's profit, or with their stuff they own now it is anyways. I think they make more money from selling the dolls and the, that kind of stuff to go along with the movie than they actually make on the movie. Like Frozen? Golly. That's still the main toy this Christmas season. So they definitely know how to cash their stuff out,
Oh, sure.
So I think we'll see a lot more of that instead of them messing with the formula that's made that succeed.
Right, because they're more likely to make a lot more money off of what's already there and it's already working. Somebody's already making money off of it anyway. Now we're getting a cut.
Yeah.
And so, they're not going to screw with much in that regard.
Unless they're doing it wrong.
Right. Yeah, they might fix something. I mean, and more than likely, they're good enough at it that that's what they'll be doing. If they do change something, they'll be fixing it. And
they'll be fixing it.
But, how often that's going to come up, I bet not often.
Yeah. And under the main Disney brand, how many of their movies have they actually put out that just hasn't done well? Everything they touch is golden. You make it for ages 10 and under, and it's $1 billion at the movie office, So I don't think they'll really mess anything up, They'll just kind of
pimp
it out,
if they get, once they get everything kind of rolled into place, if there's part of it that's not making enough money, I bet they'll sell it.
Oh, yeah.
So
definitely.
They'll end up selling pieces off. I'm willing to bet they're not really going to shut anything down. I think it's more likely that they're going to sell pieces off as this goes along.
Yep.
I think you're right there, too. I think that's what they're going to be looking toward more than trying to revamp.
Yep.
Yep. The properties have very little to do with this. It's about the money. It's a business decision. It's a business deal.
Yeah, big time.
Well, what would you folks want to see Disney do? If they have the majority access to the Fox properties, what would you want them to do?
Batman versus Darth Vader.
That'd be cool.
We already have the fan film, so why not?
Right, only the official canon version, by golly.
There you go.
Bruce, I am not your father.
No, Bruce, I killed your father.
Only, how can I put this?
Uh-oh.
Only if they both wear mouse ears as they battle.
Well, of course. I mean, that's a given.
Right.
I want to see Darth Vader wearing one of those goofy hats. That'd be great.
My buddy Goofy.
If for no other reason than just to hear James Earl Jones going, oh.
And I'm laughing, going, I'm getting paid for this.
Yeah.
Oh wait, there was a serious question in there, wasn't there?
Maybe.
Sorry. Derail.
I don't know. That's kind of an interesting question. I guess for me, it's hard for me to get out of the mindset of anything beyond Disney princesses with Disney. Everything else just kind of, yeah.
Well, I mean, it would be gaining a new Disney princess, a Xenomorph.
Yeah. Would you like to go to that tea party?
Yeah,
Oh man.
What kind of cookies do you serve with the milk at that one? I don't quite. Not entirely sure.
The tears of your enemies.
Getting a little dark here, aren't we?
Oh yeah, the chest burster action going on.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, I'm trying to think of what I would like to see. There's been a lot of speculation with those Marvel properties supposedly coming back.
Mm-hmm.
That after from what Kevin Feige, I'm sure I mispronounced his name, who's kind of overseeing all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is saying that after Avengers 4 that they are basically going a different direction, and that most of the movies that have already been done, other than, say, like the Doctor Strange and Ant-Man and the upcoming Captain Marvel, that kind of stuff, those are going away and they're going to go somewhere different. There's been some speculation that, if this goes through, by the time it's official, they could actually use, say, X-Men as the focus of the next phase. Or maybe, which I would prefer, would be the Fantastic Four. Because with that, you can go. Obviously, you got them, and then you have other characters that have been kind of not in, that were held up to where Disney, Marvel couldn't use them for the films. I'd like to see them go that direction, but.
See, I don't think that Disney will touch Fantastic Four. Just from the past movies and everything else, from a business standpoint, if you saw something, if you totally didn't read any of the comics or anything else or knew anything about it, but you saw a movie that's been released a couple of times now and tanked, I don't even think they would touch it. I don't know if we'll ever get a good story out of that,
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. They have. I mean, I like Fantastic Four from the comics as much as anybody, but
right.
They have not proven. Nobody has proven yet that they can make a Fantastic Four movie that's worth a damn. And so I find it hard to believe that Marvel is going to start a new. I mean, if not necessarily a new cinematic universe, but a new story arc for the cinematic universe based on a what's essentially, sadly enough, an unproven property. I just find it hard to believe that they would do that.
Yeah.
That would be a serious leap of faith.
I would love to see them do a Fantastic Four movie myself.
Yeah.
Just to prove that it can be done and done well. The first two, I didn't really have that much of a problem with. The third one was bad from the word go.
Yeah.
And I believe they've got enough thought in this that they're not going to just walk away from a possibility. I think this is too strong a property.
See, I see him jumping on X-Men, but I don't know about that one.
I don't know about X-Men. See, there I have a problem.
Yeah.
Because I think that X-Men has really run its course. If they bring back an X-Men movie and we have Wolverine in it, people are going to be upset.
Yeah.
That's not the Wolverine we know, therefore that's not Wolverine.
Yeah. But look how many times they've done it to us with Batman. You know. It's not like they're continuing the story. They keep starting all these new ones and never go from beginning to end, you know, the way that the X-Men series did.
Yeah, but we're starting to get to the point where people or Batman fans are starting to complain about that too.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of how he did in the role, I don't think, I mean, even after the fact, I don't think anybody really liked Ben Affleck as Batman.
Yeah.
Whether it had anything to do with Ben Affleck or not, I don't know. But people are kind of getting tired of a new Batman every time somebody turns around.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to have a hard time recasting the X-Men at this point. I mean, if nothing else, it hasn't been long enough.
Yeah.
I mean, wait 15 years and try it then. But right now, like, I mean, the Wolverine thing is the prime example. I mean, nobody's going to want to see a different person playing Wolverine. It's just not. Nobody's going to go for that.
Yeah.
And so they're not going to sell any tickets. And I mean, it doesn't get any better going down the line at that point until you get some separation. I mean, the smartest thing they could do in regards to that was the Logan movie, where it is clearly the last appearance of Wolverine.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no Logan 2. I mean, I don't even know what happened in that movie. I didn't see it, but there's no Logan 2.
No.
There's not. There doesn't need to be. There's not going to be. 10 or 12 years down the line, you can maybe start thinking about doing something with that. Doing something with that character. That's a reboot, basically. So, I mean, but until then, it's going to, I mean, Hugh Jackman was Wolverine.
Yeah.
But Marvel doesn't do reboots.
Okay.
They will look at you and say in comics, they don't do reboots.
Marvel can turn around and do exactly what Lucasfilm did and say, oh yeah, all those books that were written, yeah, that's not real. That didn't really happen. They can just do that with the Fox movies.
Yeah.
They can wave the magic wand and say, not canon.
Well, I mean, Fox is essentially doing it anyway, because, I mean, the third X-Men film was essentially Dark Phoenix, and the next X-Men film is Dark Phoenix. So,
yep.
And we're only talking about, what, 10, 15 years between both versions?
Yeah, it's been 12.
Okay. Yeah, I knew it had been around, yeah. At least a decade, but not too long. But so it sounds like we're... Go ahead.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I wish them well. I hope they can pull something off. I'm not sure that they're going to be able to, but still I'd like to see them try.
Will be interesting to see what they can do. And honestly, we will probably never hear about a lot of what they can and can't do because it just will never get talked about outside of a forum like this where it's just people rambling on about what the possibilities are in terms of characters and properties.
Yeah.
They ain't listening to us. Well, I mean, maybe they are. That'd be great, but...
Well, they haven't returned my calls.
Right, mine either, so... Maybe if you would quit going at them with that Batman versus Darth Vader thing again, they would return your calls, dude. I mean, come on.
Maybe I need to go militant.
Give them something new. Yeah, I think all you can do at this point is a serious, and I mean serious, leaflet campaign.
What? Door to door, or?
You gotta go to their parking lot where all their employees park, and you got to start sliding stuff under
Right.
windshield wipers.
Flyover, drop box.
Absolutely. Just don't
You
drop
think they'd let me?
Just don't drop the frozen turkeys anymore. That was a bad idea.
Bad idea.
Oh. Or don't let the turkeys fly.
if you fire them hard enough out of that cannon, they don't need to be able to fly. I mean,
Yeah.
They just need roasting pans to land in.
You last mentioning a Batman versus Darth Vader film, and I can imagine Troy just sitting there, just shaking his head, going, "Why? Why are you say that? Why did you say that?"
He's going to take us out.
No, he's going to take you out. You're the one that mentioned it.
No,
No,
he didn't mention it. It wasn't
okay.
Les. Hey, Troy,
Okay.
It wasn't Les. Les did not say that. It was me.
Yeah.
I'll take that bullet.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
He just laughed and agreed.
He did. He agreed a little too vehemently, if you ask me, but,
Alrighty. Kind of interesting times we are living in
Definitely.
with this deal. It's going to be fascinating to see what happens.
It may be a little while before we see what happens, too, because these things
Yeah,
take time.
well,
but
yeah, they're going to take time, and then especially if other people get involved and try to find out, if there was something shady going on, like I said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Congress doesn't have enough stuff that they need to be doing. They need to worry about this. So, we would be interested in hearing your thoughts about this deal. I'm sure you've already made comments on social media, but we definitely would like. You think it's a good deal? You think it's a bad deal? Are you scared about it? Just let us know. We would be interested in hearing what you had to say. Any final thoughts before we move on and take a break?
No.
All right. We are going to take a quick break and then come back for our weekly picks. And we're back. It is time for our weekly picks, and I lead off this week. And for my first choice, I am going with DC Comics, Batman Brave and the Bold Bronze Age Omnibus, Trade Volume 1. Written by Bob Haney, Mike Sikowski, and Marv Wolfman, with a ton of classic artists: Ross Andrew, Bob Brown, Neil Adams, Nick Cardy, Irv Novak, Mike Esposito, Dick Giordano, Joe Kubert. This collects Brave and Bold's 74 through 91 and includes team-ups with Metal Man, the Spectre, Plastic Man, Green Arrow. So this is going to be the first appearance of Green Arrow's modern look instead of the green and red costume that he was wearing before. Deadman, Atom, Wonder Woman, Creeper, Flash, Aquaman, and Teen Titans, to say the least. I've always been a fan of Brave and Bold. Really loved the classic stories, and I'm definitely a Bronze Age fan because that was what I grew up reading. So this is definitely on my list.
Cool.
Same here with that one.
Alrighty, Les.
My first choice is from DC, Hawkman Found, Jeff Lemire and Brian Hitch, along with Jim Lee. It's been a while since we've heard from Carter Hall, the spaceman that came to Earth and took on the persona of Hawkman. This is kind of tied into the Dark Knight's Metal storyline that DC is running currently, which is so good. And I'm looking forward to Carter Hall too, because I remember reading his first issue in Brave and the Bold in the 60s, and I was mesmerized. So getting him back after all of these incarnations and reincarnations that he's gone through, maybe we will get back to the basic story and he becomes the superhero for Earth again.
Yeah, this is definitely one to have on your radar because from what I've been hearing, there's going to be a new Hawkman series down the pike, and Jeff Lemire will be writing it. So this may give you a little indication of what you might be expecting.
Nice.
Yep. And of course, we like Jeff's work anyway, so yeah, we will be getting this anyway.
Yes.
Yes.
Lemire's pretty good.
Yep. Alrighty, Liz.
Alright, my first pick comes from Antarctic Press. It's called Teether. This is number 2 of 4. It's basically this little girl. She's 10 years old. She's new to the school, and kids finding out that she's weird. She eats people. So they have a half-eaten body in the bathroom. Elementary school's on lockdown with this, I would say it's a zombie, but it's not really a zombie because she's alive, you know? So, I guess, I don't know, a shapeshifter or something.
I think
Anyways.
The technical term is ghoul.
Ghoul, there you go. Well, they've locked this ghoul in there, and I guess it's a matter of when the police get there. Yeah, that's my first pick. A bloody one. Yeah.
Cool.
No, really?
Yeah. Killer kids, you know.
Alrighty, Mikey.
Okie dokie. My first pick is an Image title. I know, shocking. I'm going with God Complex. This is number 3 this week. And if you're not familiar with this story, it is set in a kind of a near future Earth type setting where the rulers there are essentially superpowered creatures, and they kind of designate themselves in terms of I think most of them are named after Greek gods, so it's kind of easy to kind of fall into that. And essentially, though, this is really a crime story. So there's this one cop who's kind of a non-believer who is now dealing directly with the leader of his. I'm not exactly even sure how the political structure works, but this cop is dealing with the leader, the god of this particular area, in order to solve a crime. And it's really well done. It's very pretty, and the story has got lots of really cool layers, which is always fun for me. So
Awesome.
And that's issue what?
this is issue 3.
Okay. Just making a note here.
Yeah, I can hear the pencil going.
Scratch.
Scratch. Alrighty. For my second choice, I am going with American mythology, and I'm not sure if this is an ongoing series or just a one-shot, but anyway, It is Casper and Wendy. Casper the Friendly Ghost and Wendy the Good Witch. Good little witch. I've been digging the fact that they've taken some of these old properties and tried to reintroduce them to a new crowd. And they've been doing a great job. The Underdog book was wonderful. I've not had a chance to read the Rocky and Bullwinkle. And of course, the Three Stooges have been great. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones they've done, the Pink Panther. So this is the latest in a long line. And I'm kind of excited to see what they do with this. It's like I said, it's a trip back memory lane, but I'm happy that a new generation can be introduced to some of these characters that you just don't see the cartoons anymore. No one plays the cartoons anymore. So I'm not even sure if they're available through DVD or some streaming service. So I mean, this is pretty much it.
Yep, some nice titles there, some nice stuff, some nice characters to bring out and dust off and show around to some of the new kids in town.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm right there with you. I think that's fun stuff.
It is. Good, clean fun.
Yes.
Alrighty, Les.
Number 2 comes from Boom Studios. James Tinian IV and Eric Donovan are producing the third in the series, Eugenic. This is the end of the 3-issue arc, or as far as I know, it's just finishing the whole story. But if you've been following this, it is about a future with a human uprising, and the new man culture is kind of dead in the water. It's become stagnant. So the idea is, what is going to transpire? What do we have to do to get out of this malaise and get the human back up topside?
Cool.
Yeah, it's a wild story for sure. It's pretty cool. The first issue of this was kind of amazing in its brutality. It was pretty wild.
Alrighty. Liz, you are next.
All right. My next one is from Josh Trujillo. It's a collection of stories called Love Machine. It's coming out in hardcover. This kind of shines a light on our love for technology, and like if it was introduced at different time periods, how would people react and how would things change. And it's kind of neat because each story, it is wrote in a different time, but so is the artwork. It kind of follows the time period that it talks about. So if they're back in the 60s, it's kind of like a 60s style. So it's kind of nice to read the story, kind of like that. It kind of puts you more into it. But some of the outcomes are kind of like, wow, humanity and how we do become obsessed with the newest and greatest. And sometimes it's our decline and sometimes it's our push forward. So like I said, this is 6 different stories. Pretty cool little series. I think this is the first time, though, putting it together and putting it actually all in color. So.
Neat.
Yep.
Definitely. Alrighty, Mikey.
Okay, I've got another Image book. This is actually a number 1. This is a title called Bonehead, number 1. This is a new series, obviously, and it is. This was not intended. This is also set in a near future setting, but this is focused more on groups of parkour gangs who are using neurolinked helmets to kind of boost their abilities and take bigger risks and that sort of thing. And we're in the first issue. We are promised to meet a new mysterious bonehead who has got the potential to change things. And I'll be honest, the reason this one caught my eye is because it is written by Brian Hill, who I will pretty much follow. I will give him a shot writing pretty much anything because he's that good. He's the guy who writes Postal, by the way. And I am expecting cool things with this.
Sounds like a start.
Go ahead. Yeah, I was about to say this is kind of an intriguing one, so I'm looking forward to reading this one.
Yep.
Well. Alrighty, and Mikey, you have our honorable mention.
I do?
I thought you did. Who does? Who has the honorable mention?
I do.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, see, we've gotten in the habit of letting me pick those things, and so now we need to let somebody else do it.
There you go. All right, that's fine.
What I came across this week is from Titan Books, and this is a updated, expanded edition of The Art of Hammer. You'll be able to see the artwork for the Hammer films, including rare posters and obviously items from the most iconic films from Hammer. There's also a second unit called, what was it? Sorry, just a second. Thank you. Hammer Vault. The Hammer Vault is another book by Titan, same company, which is a updated and renovated book that includes the Hammer films from 2010 to 2015, as well as the previous. If you enjoyed the Hammer films probably as much as all of us do, this is something definitely to have on the bookcase because it looks gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Yep.
Alrighty. Any special mentions this week?
Just happy holidays, I guess.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
We're going to drop on Christmas Eve, apparently.
Yep.
Yep. So Merry Christmas.
Yep. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. It's going to be done by the time this drops, but and happy Kwanzaa, happy holidays.
Whatever the hell you celebrate.
That's right.
True.
And be safe, whatever your plans are.
Oh, definitely. Safe travels.
Yep.
All right. Any other special mentions or shout-outs? All right. With that, we will get into our regular shout-outs. First off, thank you to Manny the Murderer for the incredible music we use for our podcast. Thank you guys very, very much. Definitely, you should go check out their music. We'll have a link in the show notes, and you can also go to our website, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, and click on our podcast page, and there will be a link there. You see their logo, just click on that, and I'll take you there. Thank you guys very, very much. I also want to thank the fine men and women that constitute the Pattern family on Twitter for spreading the word and retweeting our links to our podcast. Thank you for your support. If you're looking for any kind of podcast, best way to do it is just go to Twitter. Don't necessarily have to have an account. Do a search. Hashtag Pattern Family. That's all one word, and that's Pattern, just like modern. You just, not instead of M, it's a P. So Pattern Family. And knock yourself out. Anything you may be looking for, even if you're not looking for it, I'm sure you'll come across something and say, hey, I may want to try that out. So please do. Thank you guys for your support. And finally, you, dear listener, Thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode, and we appreciate you doing the same for our prior episodes. We always value your feedback. Any kind of comment, suggestion, questions, whatever, complaints, we're always willing to listen to you. Just send them our way. There are several ways you can do that. Email, and that email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Or you can go to our website, click on the About Us tab, and there's a form there you can fill out. Some of y'all have been doing that real recently, and we appreciate you doing that. And I think we have responded to you pretty quickly. You can contact us through social media. We are on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. That's all one word. Feel free to follow us there. And we are also on Twitter, @Fellowship Geeks. Feel free to follow us there. Most of us have our own personal account, a Twitter account that you can follow. Mike is @MikeyGeek. Liz is @Newman_L, and that's NEUMANN_L. And I'm @TomTCGeek. Feel free to follow us there and just say hey. I've been checking you out on the podcast and wanted to follow you. It would be greatly appreciated. And wherever you download and listen to our podcast, whether it's through iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and hopefully soon on Spotify, please rate us through whatever rating system they have, whether it's stars, thumbs up, thumbs down, numbers, whatever. That would be greatly appreciated. And if you have a couple extra moments, a review would be awesome as well. Did I miss anything?
No, say that list of where you can find us is getting longer and longer, isn't it?
Right.
Well, that's good. That means there's more opportunities for people to listen to us. That's awesome.
It is.
All right. So any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
Thanks, everybody.
Yep.
Thank you
Good
very
show.
much.
Yep. Thanks for listening.
Happy holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Once again, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Thank you again for listening. I hope it's a safe, wonderful holiday. And next week we'll be doing our year-end review. 2017 is just about over, guys. Hard to believe. Seems like we were just starting 2017 about 2 weeks ago. But obviously it was longer than that.
Oh, yeah.
So, with that, we say good night, read more comics, and support your local stores. We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook @The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter @Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,